Hello everybody, and welcome to the Primer Showcase. I'm Leon, part of our Global Solutions Engineering team here at Primer. And today, I'll be your guide for the next hour, where you'll hear from our leaders, see our newest products, and meet industry voices who are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. What makes this showcase special is the mindset behind it. Now, when I first joined Primer from PayPal, one thing amazed me was how often we asked the question, what if? Not as a throwaway question, but as a way of working, a way of looking at every constraint as an opportunity and reimagining how things should work, not just how they've always been. That spirit is behind everything that you'll see here today. So let's get started. And to kick us off, I'd like to introduce you to our co-founder and CEO, Gab Leroux.
Thank you, Leon. A few years ago, building a global business was slow and heavy. You raised big rounds, hired big teams, and waited years to see the payoff. Today, that's changed. Lean teams enter new markets in weeks, products ship faster, entire industries appear almost overnight. Ambition is accelerating. We're entering in what I call the what-if economy. In the what-if economy, businesses don't ask, how can we do this? They ask, what if we could? That shift from constraints to possibilities changes everything, but there is a problem. Ambition has outrun infrastructure. Systems built for yesterday's challenges are straining on the today's speed and scale. Nowhere is this more obvious than how money moves. Inside most companies, money movement is still fractured. What should be the most fluid system is often the most rigid. Take the journey of a single payment. It doesn't flow smoothly from start to finish. It splits into different systems, data format, and priorities. Go-to-market teams design checkout for conversion. Payments team chase approvals and cost juggling fragile integrations. Finance gets settlement files that don't line up. Treasury tries to see cash, currency, and FX exposure, but lacks a unified view. Support teams manage disputes and refund questions with data scattered across different interfaces and databases. Everyone touches the same payment, but from different systems speaking different languages. The outcome here isn't progress, it's drag. Revenue leaks away unseen. Strategic decisions are made in the dark, and what should be the lifeblood of the business becomes a source of friction and fragility. What if it didn't need to be this way? What if one system could unify money movement to align teams around the same truth and to let businesses scale without limit? That's what we're building at Primer. When we entered the market, people called us payment orchestration, but orchestration was never the destination. It was the first step. Primer exists not to patch over the cracks, but to completely rebuild the foundation. It's one platform to accept, optimize, and manage payments end to end. It's the connective tissue of the modern enterprise, the infrastructure for the what-if economy. And this isn't theoretical. Some of the most forward-looking enterprises across travel, retail, digital content, and marketplaces are using Primer to re-architect how money moves through their business. They're using Primer as the foundation to expand faster, streamline their operations, and unlock entirely new possibilities. But this isn't just about individual wins. By unifying merchants and providers on one infrastructure, we're turning what was a fragmented landscape into a compounding one, where each new integration, each new capability lifts the entire ecosystem. And now we're ready to show you what comes next. The next evolution of Primer, an infrastructure that unifies every team that touches money and every provider they rely on, opening new possibilities to accelerate growth, operate smarter, and scale without limits. The what-if economy belongs to the companies who refuse to accept constraints. Primer exists to make sure money movement isn't one of them. And to keep building what comes next, we'll keep asking, what if? And now back to Leon.
Thanks, Gab. That point about rebuilding the foundations of payments really hits home, because when I'm speaking with merchants, it comes up all the time. Payments feels messy, disjointed, and harder than they should be, and fixing it isn't simple. These challenges cut across every team that touches money, but getting it right, it changes everything. And that'll be a thread that runs through everything we talk about today. And first up, we're going to turn our attention to AI. Now, there's obviously a lot of buzz about AI right now, But the question merchants are asking is much simpler. What does this actually mean for me, for my team, and for the way payments work day to day? To dig into this, I'm handing over to my colleague, Emilia, who's speaking with payments leaders, Lauren, Charles, and Blessed, to explore where they think AI will really move the needle in payments.
Look at nearly every profession, and AI is transforming the way people work. It's helping people think bigger, build smarter, scale faster, and achieve more than was previously possible. And payments is no exception. I'm Emilia, and I'm joined by Lauren Lecomte, Director of Payments, Fraud and Risk at Backmarket, global marketplace for premium refurbished electronics, Charles Adji, who is a payments and product specialist who's worked for brands such as leading travel agency TUI, and Blessed Yahaya, Strategic Payments Partnerships Manager at Google. Together, we'll explore where AI will impact payments, the possibilities it creates, and how the role of the payment leader is set to evolve. Lauren, I'm going to start with you. How are you using AI today in your work, and what tangible benefits is it delivering?
So at Backmarket, we have been using AI for years when it comes to fraud management or smart routing of card transactions, for instance. But more recently, with LLM, etc., we have been having new use cases. And I would separate them into two use cases. First, if the data is very structured, it's more or less an SQL++ or automation of KPI, reconciliation of transactions, populating several documents from different formats into one. So tasks that used to be done by humans, and it drives value for Backmarket because we are saving time, and this helps us focusing on more added value service tasks, right? The second use case is more about what we call Gen AI. So this would be for unstructured data or for patterns that are evolving very rapidly. So some use cases would be for fraud management, for instance, to compare messages from customers from one country to another and see patterns. And last, Gen AI is super interesting for personalization as well. So we are customizing the experience of the customer thanks to AI. For instance, if somebody is a student, we would provide him a different payment method. And in this specific use case, we are generating more sales and therefore more revenues.
Now, Charles, I'm going to move on to you. If you could hand over one part of your role today to AI right now, what would it be and why?
Thank you for that. So one of the things that we spend a lot of time on is trying to understand customer feedback. So we get a lot of raw feedback from customers around their payment experience, right? And if you look at this data in isolation, or one feedback by itself doesn't really tell you much, because customers are not very descriptive about what they are experiencing. For example, a customer might just say, this doesn't work. So what doesn't work and why? But if we aggregate that data, we're able to find patterns of scale, right? So normally we do that manually currently, but once we started to use Gen AI, we were able to speed up the process of finding what's really wrong with the payment experience and how we can potentially troubleshoot. The next part of what we're trying to do is, one thing I would love for AI to just completely handle would be that root cause analysis. Because once you find out there's something wrong, then there are different players that you have to speak to figure out, what to do next to solve it. If AI can just really, from what it's learned so far, tell us, okay, the problem lies in this path, and then this is the reason for that, then we can quickly discuss the solution with our partners and then move things forward so that we can improve the customer experience.
What do you see as the biggest obstacle to adopting AI, perhaps within your function or overall?
One of the fundamental things that we see is the data fragmentation, right? A lot of payment data sits across different ecosystems, whether that's ranging from schemes or that's ranging from banks or payment companies or PSPs, as we call them, right? And that makes it difficult to build efficient models, right? Because one of the most critical parts for AI, right, systems is we find data that's able to help the AI system make good judgment, right? And then I think the final piece will be, or that I see will be the talent gap, right? Today, there's a rare intersection, right? The individuals or talents who have a rare intersection between payments and AI itself, right? So you see there are people who are so good at payments, and then there's an entirely different team that's so good at AI, right? Whether it's development of models or is in the optimization, right? So that talent gap is a potential challenge that would need to be bridged.
And I also think the data fragmentation, that first point you raised, is a really big one, right? Because you have all those different players, the schemes, the acquirers, and the PSPs. So back to my point of we want GenAI to give us a root cause analysis, pointing the path to where we should go to solve the problem. But that is our knowledge bank, right? If I present that to a partner, the first thing they'll do is reject that. They'll be like, oh, actually, let's also do our own analysis. And that takes time because the way the data is structured on their side is very different to the way we're structuring it. And it's also very different to the way acquirers are structuring it, right? So even if we do our best, it doesn't mean that we would be able to use AI to solve the problem for the customer.
What kind of tools, capabilities, AI enablement that could help you succeed in your role today?
If I think about my role and what I would want to see happen, we know that Microsoft is pushing Copilot, and and whoever's using Microsoft Teams right now will see Copilot there. And there is a massive gap because it's very generalized. And, the natural instinct is to say, okay, maybe we all need like a more specialized Copilot that is trained on your context, trained on your company data, tells you exactly what you need to know, when you need to know it, so you can react as quickly as possible.
Fast forward 5 years. How do you hope AI will have changed the role of the payments leader?
I believe that within 5 years, the job of a payment leader will move from a kind of traditional operator manager towards a strategic technology expert that will navigate between AI, finance, and customer experience.
Yeah.
As you said, way more.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's very easy to be pigeonholed into just thinking about payment in the present. But I think in 5 years' time, if we're more enabled and AI powered, then as a leader, you're not just a leader within payment, you're a leader for the business.
Yeah. Just to add to that, right? So obviously we see the scope change. Another potential hilarious area I see too is we would see role title change from head of payments to head of intelligent commerce, right? Because essentially it's now more holistic in terms of what you do. It's not just payments for payments or payouts, right? So it's now an overview from a commerce perspective. There's an interesting progression, right? From a strategic perspective, from an operational day-to-day perspective, and also from a decision-making perspective. So
you heard it here first. Head of Intelligence Commerce. Yeah. I like that job description. I was just wow, that's a nice job title. Like that. In 5 years' time, you see us with no more head of payments or head of Intelligent Commerce, right? It would be really nice.
I love that.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, this is all we have time for today, but really enjoyed the conversation. If you want to hear more from them, please visit our website where we've published an extended version of this interview. Here at Primer, we're incredibly bullish about the potential AI has to transform how payment leaders operate and create value for their organizations. Now, I'm handing over to my colleague Aladdin, who will give you an exclusive first look at how we're embedding AI into Primer.
We all know that payments sit at one of the most critical, yet most under-resourced points in the business. No matter how big your company is, there is likely just 1 or 2 people overseeing the entire payment flow to protect and increase business revenue. This forces payment leaders like you to learn on the fly how to be strategists, negotiators, detectives and firefighters all at once. And all these responsibilities bring a huge backlog of tasks to do just to keep the lights on, preventing you from focusing on the most impactful initiatives. So we asked ourselves, what if we could give you this time back? What if the data and expertise Primer has built over the years could be amplified by generative AI, giving you the capacity of 100 teammates? And what if Primer could surface recommendations and take action, allowing you to go after the opportunities you never had the bandwidth to chase? That's exactly why we built the world's first AI companion for payments. This is the next chapter of the platform we've been building from day one. We are on a mission to empower you to get the most out of your payments, and we're uniquely positioned to do so. See, every year, billions of dollars worth of transactions flow through Primer, spanning geographies, industries, and processors, but also card networks, issuers, and payment methods. That breadth of data gives us a perspective no single merchant could ever have on their own, which is what makes a Primer payment worth so much more than any other payment. To build this AI companion, we took all of this data and then combined it with years of working side by side with merchants on their toughest challenges to create a solution that truly understands your payments and your objectives. Now Primer supports you the way a true teammate would. It's constantly monitoring your payments to catch anomalies, inefficiencies, and untapped opportunities. It offers recommendations that fit your goals and constraints. And once you're ready, it turns ideas into action with your approval. Okay, let's take a look at what it's like to work with your AI companion. For this demo, I'm stepping into the shoes of a payments leader who wants to roll out network tokens to boost their authorization rate and reduce payment fees. Last year, we released our processor-agnostic network token solution. This was the first time merchants had a no-code interface to roll out their tokens across all their processes and monitor performance in real time. The feedback we received was fantastic. That being said, this amount of control requires merchants to plan their rollout, execute it, and analyze the results. Now, all of that changes. Using our data and expertise, you can save valuable time by delegating this rollout to your AI teammate. I'm here on the Network Token Hub of the Primer dashboard, and I'm immediately welcomed by my AI companion. Although I'm not currently live with Primer Network Tokens, my companion has not been idling. It has analyzed my data to recommend a clear rollout strategy. Here, it suggests I start by allocating 10% of traffic to network tokens for one day to make sure everything works, before considering an A/B test for a few more days to get enough data to do a fair comparison. This is incredible. Preparing this sort of plan of action usually requires a lot of expertise, confidence, and time that payment teams don't always have. One critical thing to understand is that my companion is only making a suggestion here. We are building this solution with safety in mind so that you, the payments leader, can remain in complete control. But to speed things up, you can give your AI companion a one-time permission to make the necessary changes. Simply click Execute, review the changes, and your AI companion will set everything up for you. But if you believe you made a mistake, you can just click on Revert. It's really that simple. And what's most crucial is that at every step of the process, you remain in a driver's seat. Okay, let's fast forward a few days to check in on what's happening with the rollout. We're back in the Network Token Hub, and you can see my AI companion has prepared a detailed report summarizing the results and recommending what to do next. And just like before, you remain in charge. You can review the options or do things your own way. This is amazing. Instead of spending hours analyzing data scattered across all your processes, you can now just spend 1 minute reviewing a report. Now, what if you want to challenge how your companion interpreted the data, or you want additional details? In that case, your companion is always one click away to answer any of your questions, whether it's on the current page or anything else about your payment. For instance, which country has the lowest performance with network tokens? As you can see, our AI companion can answer this sort of complex question quickly and accurately. Primer's AI companion introduces a paradigm shift for payment leaders, enabling them to focus on what truly matters while remaining in the driver's seat. That being said, this can only work if your AI companion can earn your trust. We take trust and privacy concerns extremely seriously, and this was built from the ground up with your business safety in mind. Your companion cannot make any changes without your permission. This is not a black box. You can always see what it did and the reasons behind the recommendations, and your data is never accessible by other merchants. We can't wait to see what you achieve with your AI companion once it's in your hands. Now, back to Leon.
What Aladdin has just shown us is truly game-changing. Working with merchants across the world, I can immediately see how transformative this can be. Even in its earliest form, it's easy to picture the different ways our merchants will be able to use it to work smarter and move faster. Of course, I did ask if this AI companion could do my job too. For now, turns out I'm okay. I'll be handing over to Mate from our engineering team shortly, who's some really exciting updates to share about our checkout product. But before that, I've got a few words from Luca Quinio, Head of Payments at Boot and Conforama, two of Europe's largest homeware retailers, on the success they've had with working with Primer.
It's been a year since we are working with Primer, and yeah, it's been a blast, honestly. One of the main features we will like with Primer is the clarity and the way payment is shown. Usually payment in our area for PSP or for any tool we use are kind of black box for us. And it can be very difficult in our area to think about new solutions or think about optimization if we don't know what's going on. And Primer break out this mold for us, because in Primer we have like all the workflows, so we know exactly what the payment is going through. So this completely changed the way we approach things. Before Primer, we had to wait maybe 1 or 2 days just to understand if the data necessary to just know something went wrong. Now, as of today, with the monitoring and dashboard of Primer, we're able to pinpoint the issue very, very quickly. And this is a complete game changer for us. And I estimate we also win between 1 and 2 points just for card payment, for example, just by identifying some issue and being able to react for them, not only in Primer, but also to call the banks or to call the PSP directly, saying, okay, thanks to Primer, we identify this very specific data that is not as good as we expect it to be. And they say, oh yeah, maybe we can manage it and we can shift it a little bit. I hope to make it much better. And my goal actually, for example, just on card payment, I still think I have like between 4 and 5 points I should be looking for. And I will mostly use the fallback of Primer and also the revamp of the new 3DS with Primer. So I will be able, I hope, I guess, I will try to make it better in the months to come.
The checkout has become so much more than a card form. It's a critical part of your brand experience and the point in a journey where small details make the biggest impact on conversion. Payment itself should be a non-event, seamless, invisible, frictionless. Think about your own checkout. Is it truly seamless for customers and creating more value for your business? For most merchants, the answer is no. This isn't because they don't see the opportunity, but because the tools available force trade-offs that prevent teams from building the checkout they really want. On one side, there are low-key drop-in solutions. These are quick to implement, easy to maintain, but rigidly constrained. On the other, there are headless implementations that offer complete flexibility and control, but at an enormous upfront development cost, not to mention the maintenance on the technical side. Over the past year, we've had countless conversations with merchants, and the message is clear: checkout matters, and they're done with compromise. We challenged our team with a simple question: what if we could give merchants complete control to build the highest converting checkout in the fewest lines of code? That's exactly what the next evolution of the Primer checkout delivers, setting a new standard that rewrites what checkout must be. We've rebuilt the product from the ground up with state-of-the-art technology that enables us to create the best possible experience. Every component of the checkout is modular and treated as a fully customizable element that you can arrange, style, and control exactly as you need. It gives you complete flexibility to dial customization up or down, depending on what you want to achieve with your checkout. You might want to start simple, a straightforward setup. You can launch quickly, then layer in sophistication over time. You can do that with one line of code and add a few more to make it really yours. Or you might be ready to run advanced experiments across various elements to squeeze out every last basis point of conversion. Either way, you get flexibility without compromise, speed without complexity, and the checkout that grows with your business. After all, it's your checkout. You should no longer be constrained on how it looks and behaves, especially when it has such a big business impact. That's our vision. Now let me show you in action. Getting started can be simpler than this. Just drop a few lines of code from our docs into the right spot on your side, and you're up and running. That was easy, right? We can stop right there. You already have a fully functioning checkout. But if you want to optimize for conversion, why don't we match your brand experience? For example, we can match the font of your site first, followed by some design elements like the colors, spacing, borders. And now we have a checkout that looks and feels like a natural part of our product. We can also go wild and add some drop shadows and a dark theme. We could stop right there, but there's more. Not only you can match the design of your site, but you can mold the checkout that suits your customers best. Let's say my prime payment channel is PayPal and Venmo. We can simply highlight that with our component system. Primer gives you the flexibility to build a checkout that converts best for your case. You can use these for A/B testing if you wish, showing the right options for the customer. Not only you can play with the order of these, but change how they show up and behave. You can fit the card form to match your local user base, showing the perfect order for your customers. You can add your custom fields too. Let's say you want to capture a discount code. It's easy to add that in a way that looks and feels natural inside your checkout. And that's really the point here. Nothing in the Primer checkout is fixed. Every piece is modular, so you can shape it to your needs, whether that's adjusting the UI, changing how payment methods show up, or reordering fields. As a developer, I get full control without all the traditional effort and coding required. Every part of the checkout is modular, so you can shape it to fit your customers' needs today and keep evolving as the business grows. And if you can't be bothered by typing this much, we made all our docs AI friendly in case you want to take advantage of your favorite AI agent. Feedback from the merchants so far has been incredible, calling this the checkout they always wanted. Head to our website to learn more. Back to Leon.
When I'm helping merchants to integrate into Primer, I often hear how much they want both speed and flexibility at checkout. Now, we can deliver that, and the feedback from merchants has been fantastic. Excited to see more teams get their hands on our new checkout, and I'd encourage everyone to head to our website to learn even more. Next, we're going to move from the start of the payment lifecycle to the end, and our senior product manager, Ali Al-Bajati, will showcase powerful new products designed for finance teams. But before that, let's hear from Armina Simkus, payments product owner at Eldorado, about how we've enabled them to optimize their payments.
I think there are many great benefits of working with Primer, but my top 3 would be that first, you're able to move fast and add new integrations and payment methods really fast. So we're currently running a 5 BSPs setup. So if we had to do it all by ourselves, it would have been extremely difficult and a very long task to do because each integration requires quite a lot of effort. But with Primer, it's seamless. Primer does it for you, and you can just focus on building your product and testing the performance and looking how you can maximize the things not from the technical perspective, but from the operational one. The second main benefit from working with Primer is the optimization bit, because we can run continuous experiments and see what providers are performing best and use them in those regions. We are doing this through Primer workflows. So we have ability to split the traffic, we have the ability to add the metadata, we are able in the observability tool to filter this data and filter those payments by the flag we created. So it creates us a really flexible opportunity to do the testing with Primer and filter all the results in the Primer dashboard to see what are the results. The third main benefit, I think, is the great merchant-first experience from Primer side. That whenever you have any questions, you can always ask account managers, product managers, engineers, solution engineers, and everybody will be really focused on helping the merchant.
The launch of our new reconciliation product marked a shift. For the first time, we began to help finance teams deal with what happens after settlement, in effect, extending our platform beyond accepting and optimizing payments. Reconciliation was built with some of the world's largest enterprises. It gives finance teams a single source of truth across every payment method and processor, meaning they get a unified and real-time view of all settlement reports with clear visibility into the fees they're paying to accept payments. As we worked with these teams, however, we uncovered more of the challenges they faced. One of the biggest challenges was foreign exchange. When merchants expand globally, supporting local currencies becomes non-negotiable. That usually means one of two things: setting up local entities and bank accounts, or letting their PSP collect locally and convert funds back at payout. The challenge is, most merchants don't realize just how much they're losing in FX. And for those who do, they realize that the costs are material. Trying to reduce FX costs is another headache entirely. It requires merchants to navigate a fragmented FX landscape that is riddled with operational costs and trade-offs. The cost of these challenges is massive. Margins get eroded, finance teams lose visibility, and businesses are forced into decisions that limit growth. We asked ourselves, what if we could help merchants with this challenge? So today, we're introducing Global Accounts to provide a solution to these challenges. Global Accounts is a multi-currency wallet inside Primer. It gives businesses a simpler, smarter way to manage FX. With Global Accounts, merchants can receive and hold funds in named multi-currency accounts to avoid forced conversions, convert balances at market-linked rates with full transparency, and transfer and pay out through local rails or over SWIFT, whichever works best. Ultimately, you can see and manage everything in one place with a unified view of global inflows and balances. So let's take a look at the solution. Welcome to the Global Accounts Hub inside the Primer dashboard. This is your unified view of all inflows and balances across every supported currency, every settlement, and every payment method. For this demo, I'll take the role of a British-based online retailer expanding into Mexico. I'll show you how simple it is to start accepting payments in Mexican pesos and how much you can save on FX using Primer. We'll start by retrieving our Mexican peso account details. Because the account is already provisioned for us, there's no paperwork, no waiting, no back and forth with local banks. All we need to do is copy the account details from Primer and add it as a payout account with our PSP. Now we can pass the currency and amount so Mexican customers automatically see prices and pay in Mexican pesos. This creates a familiar, localized experience for our customers, reducing friction at checkout and lowering the chances of cart abandonment. Back in Global Accounts, we can see the payout has landed in our Mexican peso account. We can hold the balance in pesos for as long as required. For example, we may wait to settle local invoices directly from the MXN balance, then convert the remainder back to pounds, timing the conversion to take advantage of more favorable market conditions. Since we have no outstanding local invoices in pesos, let's go ahead and convert these funds to pounds and transfer them back to our bank account. Converting and transferring funds is just a few clicks with Primer. There is no black box, exchange rates are linked directly to the market, and any transfer fees are visible, so you always know exactly what you'll pay. Once complete, we can see not just the converted funds, but also an indication of how much we've saved by using Primer's Global Accounts. And this is just one example. With Primer, you're not only able to accept and optimize payments across every PSP and APM from a single platform, you can now manage the settlement side in the same place. Track every transaction end-to-end from checkout to funds landing in your bank account, all in one hub. Traditionally, achieving this level of coverage would mean opening local bank accounts, often tied to setting up new entities and navigating local regulatory requirements. With Primer, those accounts are provisioned for you in the background, so expansion takes minutes, not months, and at a fraction of the cost. Together, reconciliation and global accounts point to our bigger vision, solving the operational layer of the entire money movement journey. Primer is uniquely positioned to do this. We sit across the end-to-end payment value chain, giving us visibility into the entire flow of funds. That visibility is what allows us to help merchants optimize every step. So, why does this matter? Because just as we found for payments teams, as businesses scale fast, finance teams are always playing catch-up and shoulder responsibilities beyond finance. They're tasked with driving innovation, supporting digital transformation, and shaping business strategy. Yet, they're held back by the fact that only 1% of CFOs have automated over 3/4 of their financial processes. Our vision is simple: free finance teams from the spreadsheets, and give them the tools they need from pay-in to payout to focus on the strategic decisions that drive growth and resilience. This is the future we're building, and we'd love to show you more, so get in touch. I'm now handing over to our product marketing lead, Nikita, for a fireside chat with Jonathan de Groot, VP of Finance at ESOL, about the evolving role of the finance leader.
Thank you, Ali. The role of today's finance leaders looks very different from what it used to be. According to Gartner, 70% of finance leaders now take on responsibilities that go far beyond traditional finance. I'm Nikita Mavinkirve, product marketing lead at Primer, and to explore what that evolution looks like in practice, I'm joined by Jonathan de Groot, VP of Finance at ESOL, a leading platform empowering brands to sell, showcase, and monetize experiences. Before joining ESOL, Jonathan was the head of planning and strategy at Curve and VP of strategic finance at Sten Technologies. So let's kick things off by talking about strategic finance. What does that term mean for you today, and what would you say are your goals and objectives within that role?
I think strategic finance kind of became a thing within companies, especially fintech companies, but not only. And I think in general, finance moved away from kind of reporting the past and kind of more thinking future and be a partner, like a financial partner with everyone really in a business. So it's not only with, with sales, but it could be with product, it could be with marketing, and even with the CEO. There's a lot of collaboration among the chiefs, like the most senior managers in the company.
Where do you think within your role today at ESOL, where do you think you're spending most of your time and energy?
I mean, every finance guy will immediately relate to kind of reconciliations, and you have several tools with several reportings and they just don't talk to each other. It's like, numbers are completely different. So I think, in terms of the basics, do we have the right data in place? Can we standardize it to kind of one report where you can actually generate some good feedback and insights from? Eventually, when you have all the data together, it's you want to have most of the time spent on analysis and kind of insights and value added stuff, rather than dealing with these reconciliations, which are just endless. It's a monthly thing. So currently where I am at ESOL, we don't want to throw headcounts, and just do these things. We're really trying to find the right tools. We just moved to kind of an AI native ERP with kind of probably the best AP management tool, and we have a lot of different kind of financial tools which we brought together in one place. And you kind of you're less worried about month-end closing and how quick do you do it. And actually currently most of my time these days is really you want to try to make finance into kind of a growth enabler. Doing that is, you really dive into the embedded finance, where finance have a big value in. So, you work on all kind of added value financial features you can bring to the product. That's kind of, most of my time now, actually.
Looking ahead at ESOL, what would you say are your priorities for the next 12 months? And what would your vision be at ESOL?
I think the key part for me is, and I actually, for 26, my kind of New Year resolution is, we kind of broke down the target I gave to the team is kind of the defense side and the offense side. And the defense side is how can we help, avoiding churn of, customers, so working closely with CS. How can we make sure we're not crossing our kind of boundaries of spend we do and operational leverage we have. So really focus on kind of the defense side, but also, and this kind of tends to be forgotten, is really work on the offense as well. And in many fintech companies, there's a TTV or GMV, money that flows through. and you work on the take rates. So you have the core product that has a specific take rate, and you can add all kind of layers and more added value features where you can take a bit more, like a few basis points of take rates. And this is where I work a lot as well, and I expect in the next 12 months to do this more and more.
So that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective as well.
Thank you.
If you want to see a longer version of this interview with Jonathan, please head to our website.
That was an interesting conversation about the evolving role of the finance leader. And thank you, Ali, for that exciting update about global accounts. It's clear that finance leaders aren't just there to close the books. They're shaping strategy, driving transformation, guiding where the business goes next. But they can only do this if they have the right tools. That's why what we're building here matters so much. And with that, we're coming into the final part of today's showcase. We've covered a lot already. AI that gives payments teams the scale of 100 people, a checkout experience with no compromise, and tools that complete payments lifecycle. And we're not done yet. I'm handing the baton back over to our CEO, Gab, who's got an incredibly exciting update to share about where we're taking our partners in our ecosystem. Gab?
When I started Primer, it was obvious the payment ecosystem had a two-sided problem. At Braintree and PayPal, I saw how long it took to get merchants live. It was always a tedious process. And from conversations with peers across the ecosystem, I knew it wasn't just us. Everyone was frustrated by the same issue. This was due to the fact that integrating a new payment service isn't a simple task. For merchants, it's a major engineering project. In the context of all their other priorities, it could take months to complete. That was far from optimal. Merchants had to slow down and become payments experts just to scale. Providers couldn't keep up. Growth was held back from everyone. We started Primer to change that, and we have. With Primer, merchants only need to connect once to instantly access the services they need. Primer has plugged into providers, allowing them to go live with merchants in weeks, not months. Primer is now the distribution layer for PSPs, payment methods, and fraud providers, lifting the burden from merchants and speeding up their growth. The strength of our relationships with JP Morgan Payments, Checkout.com, PayPal, Visa, Forder, and many others prove that. Together, we're processing billions of dollars from businesses globally. Let's hear from a few of our partners about the value they get from working with Primer.
Working with a wide range of partners such as Primer allows us to focus on ensuring that our clients have the right technology to provide them flexibility, control, and performance improvements, as well as complementing that with payments processing in terms of the local payment needs they have in each of the markets. And working with Primer allows us to have more use cases that we can solve for, from having a trusted partner and a technology stack, complementing our payments processing, meaning that we can reach a wide range of merchant verticals and use cases. We've seen very positive impacts in terms of our merchants. We've seen one of our merchants has had an uplift in terms of authorization rates, and it's focused on innovation rather than the operational side of payments. It's a highly collaborative team, which results in clear communication, clarity, consistency, ensuring that our clients have the best experience with us both. There's significant opportunities here. When we look at the ease that merchants have to implement in terms of the Primer platform, combined with the payment methods that we have on a global scale, what we can do is ensure that we're powering our merchants in a simplistic way, but optimizing their payments and increasing conversions.
Obviously, merchants are more and more demanding, and they deserve and they should be. And I think for the global reach, the partnership between Primer and Checkout.com is critical for the expansion. Primer is able to reach everywhere in the world with new payment method, and Checkout.com is proud to be able to partner and at the same time have the performance to deliver for companies like Get Your Guide or Love Holidays on the platform and make sure they have the highest acceptance rate and the best fees possible. And that's, I think, is a good partnership together. There's great value to have partnerships. I'm a true believer that we need to work with multiple companies to be successful. And I think the value is very much, we're very payment geeks, and I think is how we can solve merchant problem on a global scale. And I think working with teams that are dedicated to have the best APIs, the best acceptance rate, I think this is where the true value is at the service of the merchant. We've seen significant results, and we had very good wins this year in 2025 as a partnership. And companies like Love Holidays, Get Your Guide have seen an increase of acceptance rate. I think they educate themselves much more on payments, of how we can work better on a global scale together. Working behind the scenes with the Primer team, I think we have a lot of Slack conversation, a lot of discussions for emails of how we can improve every single basis points, every single APIs, every 3DS redirection. And I think that's where we need to work with partners like Primer to make sure we have performance for the merchants on the acquiring side, on different payment methods. And I think that's how you collaborate with companies, is make sure you deliver on performance and at the same time have a global reach. The world is changing a lot in payments. There's new payment methods every day, and new countries that want to launch new schemes. And I think it's very important that we all keep up to date, because the merchant and their own consumers will keep to date. Like tomorrow with a new payment method in Colombia, with new schemes in UAE. I think it's very important that you keep up to date. You make sure that your platform is able to deliver the latest APM or schemes that will deliver the highest acceptance rate, the cheaper fees, or just answer the consumer demand. And I think that's where a true partnership between both platforms and both companies are very important.
The success these partners are having has echoed across the payments ecosystem, sparking so much demand that we're now receiving more requests than we can possibly handle. But what if these providers didn't need to wait for Primer to build the integrations? And what if those providers already integrated with Primer could do even more? What if they could see exactly how their service performs across their base and use that insight to refine, optimize, and create more value? What if they could innovate faster, launching new features, expanding coverage, and tailoring experiences to merchants' needs? That's what we're delivering with the launch of Primer for Partners. We're excited to share that we're opening the gates and allowing any service to build directly into Primer, own their integration, and make their products instantly available to merchants. But Primer for Partner isn't just about distribution. We're building a platform for partners, giving them the tools to create more value for their merchants. Partners will get unique insight into how their services perform across their entire base. This will give visibility they've never had before. They can refine capabilities, spot opportunities, and continuously improve outcomes. Since day one, Primer's ambition has been bigger than orchestration. We've always aimed to be the connectivity platform that breaks down silos and builds an open ecosystem where the best solutions win and everyone grows faster. That's the future we're building with Primer for Partners. Starting from now, I believe that Primer will be the default way merchants and providers work together. To show you how we're making that future real today, I'll hand it over to Thomas, Principal Product Manager, to walk through some of the capabilities we're building.
Thank you, Gab. I'm very excited to show how we're productizing our vision and bringing our Primer for Partners strategy to life. Let's talk about integrations. Up until now, Primer has built and owned partner integrations. But now we're flipping that on its head. Our goal is to become the connectivity layer for the payments ecosystem. That means opening up our platform so anyone can build their own integration on Primer. When we set out to build Primer for Partners, we started completely from scratch, thinking first and foremost about what the best possible partner experience could look like. We want to enable you to own your integration in a way that you can still gain global reach, but without extra engineering investment. And so in true Primer fashion, we have not just built a no-code editor for partner integrations. You can actually onboard to Primer's platform without writing a single line of code. This means you don't have to invest development resources, as there is no new API or SDK to deal with. You can reuse your own public endpoints and can focus on what you do best. Merchants get more choice, partners get more growth, everyone wins. Let me show you how we are actually building this for partners to ensure we provide a lot of value with low lift, by jumping right into the heart of it, the integration builder. It is incredibly simple to build a complex integration with clicks, not code. This will be true not just for payment processing, but for any Primer product that is powered by third parties, including disputes, fraud checks, or even automation apps. Based on your own API reference, You can recreate the requests needed to perform the right actions and any other capability that you can build for. There is nothing holding you back. As soon as you have your account, you can get started right away. What you see here is actually dLocal's payment authorization request. And it is built with all the rules and data mapping to make sure that the request sent to dLocal is exactly what is expected by their existing API. To achieve this, any Primer data, like the payment data here, can be assigned to your request and configured accordingly, so that it's not just the right field and value that gets sent to you, but also the right format. We enable you to configure what data needs to be sent when on a very granular level. This way, you're in full control and are able to ensure that only valid requests are sent to your endpoints. To truly make it work end to end, we also need to tell the integration where the data should be sent to. Just copy and paste your endpoints into the request configuration. We know from experience that integrations are incredibly nuanced. And as you can see, we're giving you the tools to be as precise as you need to be. To complete the build, you also define the possible outcomes. In the case of an authorization attempt, simply describe how your API response looks like when a payment was processed successfully or when it was declined. With a convenient-to-use editor like this, it is now also incredibly easy for you to perform updates and provide a seamless experience for merchants. You're in control. You can add features as soon as they're available in your services, but you can also make API version upgrades without having to wait for merchants to do any work. Before publishing, both manual and automated tests help you get assurance that what you just built will work. Primer simulates real use cases, like authorizations, captures, refunds, and if any test doesn't have the expected outcome, you can see immediately, so you can make the right update quickly. Once tests pass, you can submit for review. Primer will perform a final check, and once approved, your integration goes live. With your integration now available to every current and future merchant on Primer, you have gained a valuable distribution channel, and merchants have gained easy access to your services. Once merchants start using your new integration, we're also giving your support team the right tools and the ability to drill down into integration logs to quickly identify what happened to any given request. Primer isn't a black box for merchants, and we're not a black box for partners either. Every time your integration is used, you get a record for debugging. Within the details, you can even see the exact request and response for any given transaction. If you then want to improve your integration, you can easily create an update, rerun tests, republish, and the new version rolls out instantly to all merchants. Now, of course, you also want to know how your integration is performing. From your dashboard, you can see exactly who is using your service, their activity, and a real-time pulse on performance, including data points such as top merchants by volume, authorization rates, latency, or failure rates. And we're about to take this even further with AI natively baked in to proactively surface trends and opportunities, like drops in traffic or performance shifts, so you can act fast and address any issues before they impact your merchants. Finally, and this is one key learning from working with many partners, Primer has the full picture. When merchants use more than one partner to process payments, you often lack visibility into how you're performing. That's why Primer is uniquely positioned to provide anonymized, competitive insights on payment recovery. If another provider recovers a payment that was declined, over time you will now have a signal for potential improvements on your side. This kind of data was invisible before. Now it's delivered straight to your dashboard. We're excited to be opening up Primer and giving all our partners, existing and new, control, faster growth, and the ability to deliver better outcomes for you and our mutual customers. Please get in touch if you want to learn more. Over to Leon.
Thank you, Thomas. Primer for Partners marks a new chapter for Primer and the wider ecosystem. By opening up our platform to more partners globally, we're creating new ways to collaborate and deliver meaningful value for merchants and partners everywhere. Today, you've seen more than product updates. You've seen the scope of the vision for what we're aiming to achieve here at Primer. We've introduced you to our AI companion. We've showed you how our checkout gives you complete flexibility. We've explored how we're expanding our reach further along the payment journey with global accounts. And we've shared how we're building an open platform for partners. We're building the infrastructure for the next era of commerce. And our mission is simple: to enable those with ambition, merchants and partners alike, to imagine what's possible and give them the freedom and the platform to turn what if into what's next. If you want to dive deeper into what you've learned today, head to Primer.io or connect directly with our team. On behalf of everyone here at Primer, thank you for joining us at our showcase.